to the Take Your Power Back show with Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach Kim Yater. Today's empowering program will encourage you to step into your power, to take action in your leadership, and allow your voice to be heard. Listen in today as we speak to other freedom-loving Americans that are making a positive impact in the world by standing in truth amid adversity. Learn how to take your power back in your freedom, in your personal and professional life, in technology and creativity, and in your faith. Be inspired, be encouraged, be transformed. Together, let's take your power back with our host, Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach, Kim Yater.
Well, hello, my freedom-loving patriots. Welcome to the Take Your Power Back show. I'm your host, Peak Performance Master Coach Kim Yater, and today we are sounding the alarm. Government, you are not my parent. We're exposing laws that threaten our God-given sovereignty, undermine his creation of male and female, and put children in danger. Joining me is a warrior for freedom, a dear friend, Representative Mark Fincham, former firefighter, police officer, rancher, executive director, the Election Fairness Institute, and Arizona legislature with a unshakable conservative record. From fighting for election integrity, which is important to every single one of us, to defending parental rights. Mark is here to help us take our power back. Grab your seat, patriots, lift your voice in prayer, and let's stand for God's children in Jesus' name. Mark Fincham, welcome to the Take Your Power Back show.
Wow, I'm not sure how to recover from that intro.
It's like the energy is turned on. Listen, this is all about taking our power back, right?
Yeah.
And we can be so in the head with what we're doing. We can get stuck in the inertia, Mark, that it leaves us sometimes lacking the freedom to create because we get kind of stuck. So this is really our opportunity to get unstuck and to truly take our power back. So I got a question for you. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right, Mark. So first of all, you served 21 years as a firefighter. Thank you so much for your service. Paramedic and police officer. That's true. In Michigan, yes?
Yeah.
You worked as a rancher. You led it into it with Six Sigma expertise and earned A ratings from the NRA and American Conservative Union as an Arizona legislator. What drives you, Mark, to fight for our God-given rights?
Wow. The fact that God gave us our rights and not man. There's a lot of folks who don't understand that our Constitution was nothing more than our founders setting out on paper what God gave us to remind the government that they were creating. You're born of the people. Their rights come from God. Nature's God. Okay. They don't come from some king. In fact, we broke away from a king for that very reason. Okay. So one of the things that caused me to go down the educational path of getting a bachelor's degree in state and local public policy from Grand Canyon University, a Christian university, graduated summa cum laude, and then a master's degree at University of Arizona Rogers Law School in law and economics. It's the intense study of what is it that makes us free. And I see so many individuals. I was in the House of Representatives for 8 years, termed out, ran for Secretary of State. That election was irredeemably compromised. I was essentially Carrie Lake's running mate. Carrie ran for governor in 2022. I was running for Secretary of State, which is at the time was the de facto lieutenant governor. And then, of course, Abe Hamadeh, who, he missed it by just a few hundred votes. Well,
that's right.
1,000 ballots that were never counted. And the Arizona Supreme Court never saw to it to set that record straight. So when I see things like that, and now was this past January elected to the Arizona Senate, so now it's Senator Fincham, I've gone
Senator Fincham. I love it. Yes, you are Senator Fincham. Come on.
So the whole purpose of government, and we need to revisit that, is to protect the rights of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing more complicated than that. Government exists to protect the civil rights of the people. Yet there are those in government who it's the old saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
That's right.
Well, you give somebody just a small grain, the size of a mustard seed. And this is the negative side of the mustard seed story. You give them a small mustard seed of power, and they run wild with it. And your open was about government assuming the role of super parent.
Yes.
No, absolutely not.
Every single, okay. I mean, we are talking about the children, but Mark, when you've been speaking, you are talking about service and sovereignty, right? And the government is not the parent. They are not the super parent. Right. God gave parents the authority to raise their children, not the government. So I want to traverse for a second over to California, because there's some major things that are happening here in California. Bills that threaten parents and children. So right now here in the state of California, we have what's called AB 495. It lets any adult sign a form to gain custody of a child, checking the box on the form, parent unable to be located, without proof, giving them control over medical and educational decisions. And AB 665, already law, Mark, lets kids 12 and up run away from home to stay at shelters without parental consent. How do these laws undermine the God-given sovereignty of parents?
Well, I think you've stated the case very well. It doesn't take a rocket surgeon to figure out that if the government is allowing anyone to step in without notice, I mean, I can draw an example, home title fraud. There's an example where the government has failed to act to protect people's interest in their own property.
Wow.
Well, I'm not saying that kids are property, but the law treats them as quasi-property. They're your responsibility. And when the government, I think the California legislature has lost their flipping minds.
Yeah.
They are abrogating the civil rights of parents. And I'm waiting for a parent to step up and sue under the civil right, it'd be the 14th Amendment, the abrogation of their civil rights as a parent.
Wow.
Because all of this legislation that they're doing is harmful to children.
Yes. Yeah.
And I would say it's very simple. They've gone from, oh no, this isn't grooming, the whole drag thing in the libraries.
Right.
Oh no, it's another lifestyle. No, it's grooming. Okay.
100% it's
grooming to recruiting.
Yep.
I heard Steve Bannon talk about it this morning. Malak wants more. He wants your children. He wants
the
their
father
soul.
Of lies wants more.
He wants their lives.
That's
he wants
right.
everything about them. And I'm talking about Satan, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that is Moloch is Satan. That's right.
So now you've got this satanic cabal. I guess I'd call it a cartel in California.
We're not supposed to, but we would call that a cartel. Yes.
Well, I mean, cartel's got a whole bunch of different references. I mean, it's not drugs, but it is child trafficking.
Yeah.
Let's be clear about it. The California legislature now has become a white glove delivery service to serve up children to perverts.
Yes.
And now we've got, I find it very interesting, the case in Tennessee. Even the Medical Association was against the Tennessee law that required parents to sign off on sex change surgery. Now, fortunately, the Tennessee legislature at the other end of the spectrum said, no, we're going to protect parental authority and parental rights. Okay. So now you've got AG Skirmetti has engaged in a pretty serious skirmish and won against the U.S. government. Wow. This was under the Biden administration that said, oh, no, children have that right to do that. Okay, just stop the insanity for a second.
That's right.
They're children. That's why we don't let them buy cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we don't let them buy alcohol, but you're going to let them change their body forever? Really? This is insane.
Yeah, it is Satan's ploy to break down God's design, putting kids in vulnerable situations without the protection of their families. It is absolutely wicked. And when we peel back the layers to the election fraud, the voter fraud, the fraudulent mortgages, all of these NGOs, the national breach of security in this country, you peel back the layers, you find the trafficking of children, and you go even deeper. It is satanic. It is Moloch, and there is nothing new under the sun. He has been bent on destroying God's children, and his time is short. It's time for we, the people, to wake up, Mark. We need to realize who we are truly fighting against. That should stir a fire under our butt to get us into motion. So let's go for a second to AB 223. It's not law yet. It lets an unrelated adult, check this out, an unrelated adult change a birth certificate, the name, even the gender, without parental knowledge. That's right here in California. Some see this as defying God's creation of male and female. Mark, how do you view this spiritual battle for our kids' identity?
Well, I think that everything's rooted in money. So that's probably a great place to begin talking about the Election Fairness Institute. One of the things that we've been engaged in is a money laundering research project. We can't call it an investigation because investigators are regulated, But it's a research project where we have identified upwards of $1.6 trillion, that's right, with a T, in foreign money coming into our elections. Now think about this for a second.
You
got
said foreign money, correct?
Foreign money.
Not the United States money. Foreign money meddling in our election.
There's probably some United States money that's coming in there with some of the billionaires that are out there. But take, for example, a guy by the name of Weiss out of Switzerland, multi-billionaire.
Okay.
He rolls into the United States and is funding such things as promotion of abortion to alter our state constitutions. Here's an interesting thought. He lives in Switzerland, will never have to live under the public policy that he is promoting with all of his money. Really? If we're going to have a public policy change, shouldn't that be limited to just the people within the state? There's a thought. But the Election Fairness Institute has been engaged in a whole bunch of different projects to try and bring fairness to elections. Because I will tell you, Kim, our estimate is 20 to maybe 30% of people who are in office never won an election.
Wow.
They were part of a selection. And I've got to give a hat tip to Tina Peters.
Come on, Tina Peters.
Came up with the idea. These are people that didn't win an election. The election was tampered with, so it became a selection.
That's right.
And what we have lived through was nothing more than a simulation of an election. We are alleging, and I think the court will agree with us, that Colorado improperly prosecuted her because she was protecting federal election records. That's part of U.S. code that election officials are responsible for a minimum of 22 months of protecting election records. So this is one of the things that the Election Fairness Institute has been engaged in, and that's making sure that we have things like, paper ballots counted by hand at the precinct level on election day.
Wouldn't that be great?
Go figure. Now, you have all these people who say, we can't possibly do that. Newsflash. The entire nation of Germany does their election with paper ballots that are counted by hand at the precinct level on election day, and they have their results by 10 o'clock at night.
That's right.
The biggest complaint that the American people have about elections, and this is, I think Rasmussen reports this about 70%. What's the reason for the delay in getting results on the same day? Well, in part, it's because of tampering, but it also has to do with the election law that each state has. Now, I'm going to call out Arkansas right now for an example. You have Searcy County, which moved to, because the law said they could, count paper ballots by hand on election day at the precinct level. The Arkansas legislature went absolutely berserk, passed a law that prohibited that, barred those officials from participating in elections for 14 years, and Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the governor of Arkansas, signed that bill prohibiting hand counting of paper ballots. When we know that every single machine that is engaged in elections in the United States was built by who? The Chinese Communist Party.
That's right.
We now have whistleblowers, for example, in Maricopa County.
Mm-hmm.
We got a whistleblower who said, 300,000 ballots were injected into the system by the Democrats, Adrian Fontes, Katie Hobbs, who are now in office, by the way, who did not recuse themselves for an election.
So corrupt. It's crazy. Mm-hmm.
That 300,000 ballots were printed by Runbeck and inserted into the system. So now we have the president, at our urging, looking at a special prosecutor, perhaps maybe even a federal grand jury, to look at the 2020, 2022, and perhaps even the 2024 elections, because it's not just about president. It's about governors. It's about secretaries of state. It's about congressmen.
Yes.
It's about down ticket races like county supervisors.
Yes.
County elections officials like recorders.
Yes. And all of this, Mark, has an impact on our children, our families. That's why General Flynn, General Flynn has said it over and over, local action equals national impact. So we have got to take our power back local right now. It is key, but it's connected. The children and this is connected. Elections, all of it.
So if we don't gain control of our elections, when I say gain control of our elections, I mean, what I'm talking about is elections don't belong to the government. They belong to the people.
That's right.
I've advocated that for 12 years, and I'm not going to stop. Okay. The Election Fairness Institute is engaged in a couple of major projects. One is the money laundering project. We've turned a work product over to the U.S. Attorney, to the Attorney General, to Director Patel. They now know what we know as far as the money laundering case. But wait, there's more. We've worked with, we sponsored Dr. Andy Paquette, who's a brilliant man. He examined the Arizona voter rolls for a cryptologic algorithm and found two of them. In fact, he's found these algorithms in other states that essentially create fictitious voter registrations by cloning a legitimate voter registration and parking it somewhere out in the future. Well, this is the reason they can do this is because of electronic voting, electronic tabulation. Okay. So we are engaged in an election precinct mapping comparison project. Captain Seth Keschel is in charge of that project for us. Seth is on our board of directors, and he's running that project. We mapped about a third of the counties in the United States in the 2024 election. And I've got to believe that because of the evidence that we produced and fed to local elections officials, both Republicans and Democrats, I mean, we're a 501c3, so people can give to us, get the tax write-off, and at the same time, promote fair elections. Well, we were feeding that information, and I've got to believe that when we saw people coming off the voter rolls, so they couldn't be used as a vote for the favored candidate by a particular party, all of a sudden we started to move the needle and change the trajectory of elections back in the direction of fairness. Now, those who like to be the power brokers are always going to cheat. They're always going to look for a way to cheat. But that's why our work will probably never be done. And if people want to help support us, they can go to the website, goefi.org. That's goefi.org. We survive on small contributions. Most of our donors give between $20 and $50 a month. They do a recurring thing. And they are the ones who have paid for these massive investigations. Here's another example. Here in Arizona, and this case will probably have jurisprudence impact all over the nation. the leftist corrupt AG, Attorney General Chris Mays, threatened the Mojave County Board of Supervisors that if they voted for a hand count of paper ballots on election day at the precinct level, she would prosecute them criminally. One small problem with that threat. Under Arizona law, it says in black letter law, plain as can be, that a county board of supervisors may, permissive, not prescriptive, shall is prescriptive, may use electronic tabulation, which means they could use hand counting of paper ballots if they choose.
Beautiful.
Well, they were threatened with prosecution.
Absolutely.
And that negatively impacted their vote.
Yeah.
The Election Fairness Institute is the conduit for suing the Attorney General, a Democrat, who tried to move the needle in the direction of Democrats by prohibiting electronic election fraud from being uncovered. Because the only way that you can prove whether a machine has actually counted ballots accurately is to do a hand count comparison of those ballots.
Yes. Come on. Well, hand count is key.
The court and the AG have said, oh, no, you can't do that. Arizona law says you can't have a recount. Time out. This isn't a recount because no candidate has asked for this. The counties suspect that there is a problem with the machines because of the mountains of evidence from Georgia to California.
Yeah.
From Dakota, North Dakota, all the way to Texas. We have got problem after problem after problem with machines counting ballots. We have anecdotal stories, and we've actually got video proof. When somebody uses a ballot marking device, they push Donald Trump, and all of a sudden, Joe Biden gets the vote.
We heard it all across the country. People have been shouting from the rooftops.
So this is what we have. The importance, and I'm glad that you brought up General Flynn because he's exactly right. Local action has national impact. There's a book out there, and I would urge people to get it. It's called Doctrine of the Lesser Magistrates.
Oh, yes.
Fabulous book. Matthew Tuella did a phenomenal job in laying out the argument that elections officials at the county level are perhaps some of the most powerful people in America. They are trusted with running fair elections. The sheriffs, they're also extremely powerful. You look at guys like
Sheriff, if they're not owned by the government, they are powerful. If they're in line with the Constitution and serving the people, they are.
Well, and Dar Leaf, for example, in Berry County, Michigan.
Yes.
He's a constitutional sheriff.
Yes, I like Dar Leaf.
He is, in my book, he's an American hero because he called out all of the voter registration fraud. Usually I say tampering. In this case, I'm going to say fraud because he's got instance after instance, tens of thousands of fictitious voters registered to vote. When he reported it to the Attorney General of the state of Michigan, he was basically dismissed. Well, he has not let it go.
Yeah.
Nor should he. So this is the kind of work that the Election Fairness Institute does. And
I love it.
I mean, if people want us to keep doing it, by the way, the fact that Donald Trump is in office, notwithstanding, there are people who are being held out of office. And I'm talking about Democrats, independents, and Republicans, good people who would like to serve, but the power brokers want to keep them out of office. And because we're a 501c3, we can't advocate for a party, a person, or a platform. No proposals. What we are advocating for is for people to just follow the existing law and for voting lawmakers in who are more interested in good public policy than lining their pocket.
Okay, so good. So, Mark, this has already been a wealth of information. And isn't it funny how the kids are babies, what we do as parents, it is all connected to elections. It's all connected. So we really, if we are the government, then we really do have the ability to take our power back. And I think that that's going to be key. We're going to take a moment to thank our sponsors, because it's because of our sponsors that the Take Your Power Back show is alive and freedom is alive. When we come back, we're going to continue this powerful conversation. We'll touch one more time on California, Arizona, and Utah, and then give the people what they need to take their power back on that local level. So stand by, Mark. I'm going to be back with you in just a moment. Guys, what a show that we have before us today. We are going to thank a very special sponsor right now, Mike Lindell. And I'll tell you, you hear about Mike Lindell. That is probably one of my most favorite sponsors as well, because they also provide for my needs to be met in all of our Patriot communities. It's called patriotsbuyingamerican.com. That's right, patriotsbuyingamerican.com. So how can you and I take our power back from BlackRock and Vanguard? How can we take our power back from the big box retailers like Procter & Gamble, Colgate and Palmolive, Johnson & Johnson, Unilever, those big box retailers that make your everyday products the illusion of choice, that have the poisons in it that RFK is talking about, the parabens, the alcohols, the sulfates, the triclosan, the quaternary disinfectants, heavy metals that enter your bloodstream. What happens with sick people? They're fed into the pharmaceutical industry. It is the cycle to hell. It's now time for you and me to take our power back by making the switch to what USA Today just named America's best brand. Now, come on, 40 years in business. I've been tapping in for 20 years. You want better, safer products? They don't have advertisers and distributors. What you get is better, safer products because they can afford to put the better ingredients in it. Go check it out for yourself. Check out the Peak Performance Pack. Check out all the tools that turn the lights under the body and protect your family's well-being. Take your power back. Go to patriotsbuyingamerican.com. That's patriotsbuyingamerican.com. I'm going to give you a little picture right here that gives you a heads up, and there's a QR code below. It's patriotsbuyingamerican.com. You can hover over that code. It'll take you to a page called patriotsbuyingamerican.com. Put your information in, and one of our team of experts will reach out to you to make sure you have what you need to take your well-being and your power back. All right, my freedom-loving patriots, I'm going to release that from the screen, and we're going back in. We're going back into the Take Your Power Back show, and what a show it's been today. I have a very special guest today. Folks, his name is Mark Fincham. Now, we are sounding the alarm. We're fighting for our kids. And I like to say, in the name of Jesus, we will have victory. And our sponsors that we've had all week long for the past month have been absolutely incredible in today's show being heard. So just remember that as you share our sponsors. But going back to today's show, it is all about government knowing that they are not the parent. We are the parent, and we will take our power back. Now, Mark, I'm bringing you back in. Come on in, because we got a conversation to finish off with here. I got a question for you. Now, we had an incredible conversation thus far, and there's so many places we could go in this conversation, but I want to touch on AB 727. Okay, going back to California. So AB 727 headed to the Senate. Mandate schools list the Trevor Project on student ID cards, Mark, linking kids to chat rooms online where adults can contact them privately. No age verification, no parental consent. Mark Fincham, how does this fit into the broader attack on families that we're seeing throughout the entire country?
Well, I suspect that it's probably a violation of federal law, and this is why I say that. If that project is used to proliferate pornography or to solicit sex with underage with minors, or to even engage in sexting, if you will, that's all a violation of federal law. So I'm rather surprised that, but again, this goes to the out of touch nature that the the California legislature has literally gone off the cliff for insanity. They are no longer engaged in the best interests of the child.
No, not
and
at
I
all.
think that, there's a couple of different things that are at work here. First of all, you've got the anti-pornography proliferation. Wow, I'm trying to say that a whole bunch of times.
You're doing great.
The Anti-Pornography Proliferation Act. So this is Congress weighing in, saying you're not going to use a public utility, basically the internet, to proliferate pornography to minors. Well, it sounds to me like this is about as close as you can get to facilitating that.
100%.
Well, facilitation is as bad as the crime itself.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
this is exposing our children to predators. Bypassing parents is a direct violation of God's command to guide our children. So who is our God, government or God? In Deuteronomy 6 through 7, let's go back. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up, right? We need to be teaching our children the way to go. And it's our responsibility to protect our children from this. So am I expecting my teachers, our lawmakers, to be obedient to that scripture? I mean, I don't know about you, Mark, but I focus in on putting those into law, voting for those that actually know who our God is.
Well, I think that there again, we've got election tools that are available to us. So let's revisit that for a moment.
Okay.
How do you get rid of an unaccountable judge? Somebody who's acting apparently under the belief that they can just do things with impunity. Okay. Well, legislatures around the country can impeach a judge. What does that look like? Well, the House of Representatives identifies a judge, perhaps by a complaint from a constituent, who has violated a state statute. Sometimes criminal, sometimes civil. But regardless, they have violated a state statute and or probably some corresponding court rules, which, by the way, should be overhauled because rules act like laws and there's a separation of powers issue going on there. But let's just keep it narrowly confined right now to what we're talking about, and that is impeachment. It takes one legislator, one member of the House of Representatives, to draft articles of impeachment against the judge. They introduce that bill because it's in the form of a bill, and the speaker of whatever house that is would either assign it or hold it. The minute that bill is dropped, that's an industry term, introduced, the minute that bill is introduced to the body, that should put the judge on notice. We're not watching you. If that bill, articles of impeachment, make their way through the House, the further they get, the closer it comes to actual impeachment. Now, once the articles pass out of a House of Representatives, it could be an assembly, depending upon what the state has. Now, I think Nebraska is the only unicameral state we have in the United States. But once it passes out of one chamber, it goes to the Senate for a trial. That is where, and it's a trial. You better have an attorney, whoever the subject of that impeachment is.
Yes.
Because evidence is going to be brought against you staying in office. That is where the taxpayers, the voters, have an opportunity to influence their representatives. You can call and say, look, I support you in articles of impeachment. I demand, Speaker of the House, that you move these articles of impeachment forward. Lighting up phones and don't do it with email, okay? Because people, I get
yes, exactly.
Thousands
we
of
can
emails.
Call, pick up our phones, call.
Burn up the phone lines, okay?
Yes.
Then once it goes over to the Senate will hold a trial. Once again, you need to burn up the phone lines and let people know we want this judge off the bench. Now, there's a whole there's a whole public relations piece that goes along with this. So the people that are promoting articles of impeachment need to be prepared with the facts to get them out to the people so they can explain, this is how you get rid of a judge. Okay. So that's one way. It's the hardest way, quite frankly, because you're depending
on. Is there an easier way? Tell us the easier way.
Well, the easier way isn't so easy, but that's why, and I'm glad that they're not easy. Because the whole point is we want judges to have a certain amount of autonomy so that they can do their job without being influenced.
Right.
But hold on a second. If you're not instructed by biblical principles, if you're not going to pay attention to what the law actually says, if you're going to ignore the rules that the court itself has laid down, you're rogue. You're drunk with power and you need to be removed from office.
Well said.
You're a public officer. Start acting like one.
There's power in all of us working together. So one, we need to be praying. The grassroots organizing of pulling a campaign like this together. You just offered the support, which is pretty amazing. Right. Satan wants to divide us, but in Jesus' name, we are stronger together and we really can reclaim our power back.
Well, in the name of taking your power back, you need to know what your options are.
Very important.
And there is a growing body of knowledge out on social media. It's striking to me the number of calls that my office has received for help from other states.
Wow.
Well, this is not an Arizona thing. This is a national thing. And I think that we've also seen a couple of items that I haven't spoke of yet. I know for a fact there's at least one class action lawsuit that has been filed in U.S. District Court. There's at least one racketeering case that has been filed in U.S. District Court.
Come on.
Naming psychologists, attorneys, judges, therapists, and even some police officers, even some state agencies. I'm not at liberty to talk about those cases, but I know for a fact that they have indeed been filed. These, I think, are all predicated on 42 U.S. Code, Section 1983. Basically, the abrogation of civil rights under color of authority. Meaning, you have a police officer who throws away the civil rights of a child. In fact, the Meridian Police Department, this is an anecdotal story, when asked by one of the parents, what about the rights of my kids? The officer, a supervisor, said, well, kids don't have rights.
Oh, gosh.
Well, no, excuse me. As long as they have a pulse.
That's right.
And they have the same chromosomes as a human being, they're a human being.
That's right.
And in this nation, every human being has civil rights. Everyone who's here legally. Now, I have a question about those who are here illegally. They're covered by the civil rights of their own nation.
That's right.
But if you're a child of a citizen of the United States, you're a citizen of the United States, which means you're covered by the U.S. Constitution.
Yes, you are.
Tell me that, and that begs the question, how well trained is a law enforcement officer who doesn't recognize that every individual who's a citizen has civil rights?
Yeah.
That's pretty scary, actually.
It is. And this goes back to the foundation and our God-given foundation, our God-given sovereignty, the Constitution built on God's word. That's where our freedom comes from. Number one, God. Number two, in the law of the land, the Constitution. And these people that are in official positions of governing have lost sight, or they never knew, and they're certainly not being taught. So we have a very big responsibility as I'd like to say as freedom-loving patriots, as a mom, as a wife, as a grandmother, I have the right and the ability, as do every single one of our listeners, Mark, to do something about it. You know, I'm going to go back to what you said we can do. We can show up, number one. We can do that by going to our local school board, our election board meetings. We can ask about policies affecting our kids. demand transparency, hold officials accountable, call our senators, burn the lines up, do the grassroots like public relations campaign, pray for wisdom. But prayer comes with action, right? So God has given us the authority to protect our children. So Mark, we're going to take a moment for one more commercial to thank our sponsors. Then we're going to come back and we're going to wrap up today's show. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
All right, guys, you've been listening to the Take Your Power Back show. And today's show is Government, You Are Not My Parent. And we need to remind the government it is not our parent. It is not the super parent. The judges are not the parent. Now, let's just take a second to thank one of our very special sponsors who makes the Take Your Power Back show possible and keeps freedom alive. And that is Patriot TV Beef. You heard Mark Fincham say it earlier. I'm not going to eat that I'm not going to eat that beef with hormones or mRNA. That's right, you're not. You all have access, just like we do, to never, ever hormone or antibiotic black label beef. That is beef with no junk in the trunk and no Zeranol. Zeranol is toxic and it is outlawed in many countries outside of the USA, but it is not outlawed here in the USA. So you've got to ask yourself, what's in your beef? And where do I get the beef? That's the best beef. I've eaten beef at Mar-a-Lago. I've eaten beef at the highest level steakhouses, and I got to tell you, I don't eat beef out anymore. The best beef you can find through our resource at patriottvbeef.com. Absolutely delicious. I'm going to give you guys a little picture here. That way you can see it for yourself. Better beef, better life. We offer beef from our farm to your home. On a carnivore diet, go get your beef. patriottvbeef.com. No antibiotics, no hormones, and never, ever, or if you're from Boston, never, ever hormones or antibiotic or mRNA. With that being said, we're popping right back into the Take Your Power Back show. I'm your host, Kim Yater. It has been an absolute joy being with all of you guys today. We're not done. Before we finish today's show, we're going to bring Mark Fincham back in, who is an absolute rock star. That's Senator Mark Fincham out of Arizona, a complete stand for our freedom. And Mark, you've given us really incredible tools today. And these are tools about we the people, the moms, the dads, the aunts, the uncles, the freedom loving patriots, the business owners, the entrepreneurs. We've got to get involved. This is our country. It is our state. It is our city. It is our county. It's our home. So we get to take full responsibility and participate. We're not going to sit here complaining and grumbling and being caught as a victim. No, we're not. And we're not going to ride on the coattails of our forefathers anymore. We're going to put a stake in the ground. We're going to stand for freedom. And we are the people of this generation that will take action. Mark, your call to action for all of those parents out there that are feeling overwhelmed by these bills, overwhelmed by what's happening in the state of California. How do we get out of the overwhelm and begin to take action?
I don't know how to follow what you just did.
What did I do?
I mean, that's the cap of the show, quite frankly. And I'm not kidding. Your words are spot on, madam. So
Amen.
Part of it is look for, we need to help our kiddos.
Yes.
And we need to make sure that we take steps to protect as much of their innocence as we can. Yeah. I'll not share my own story as a child because I don't want to break up.
Come on.
But I will tell you that had my parents known what was going on with adult neighbors, had there been people who stepped up, I probably wouldn't have some of the traumas that I've had in my life.
Yeah.
But for each and every individual who sees this and passes this on, if you have a heart for children, get out on social media and try and find some of these communities that are trying to stand up for kids. And it's child sex trafficking. It's parents who need help in fighting family court orders. In fact, while we were on the break, I got a text from my assistant. There's a legislator in Colorado would like to talk to me tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Wow. So word is getting out that action needs to be taken.
Yes.
I do believe that we have got momentum. So whatever state you may be in, take a look at your state laws. California, you got some sick puppies there, and we probably need to have a plaintiff who files suit against the Attorney General of the state of California to take down assaults on the civil rights of parents. That needs to go to a U.S. District Court. That needs to probably have the intervention of the Department of Justice.
Yes.
So, we hear this term, be loud and proud. Be loud and proud as a parent.
Yes.
Be loud and proud to protect the civil rights of children. Don't be afraid of calling your legislator. They work for you. You hired them. They damn well better start doing what you hired them to do. And that is what? Represent your interests. If they are not, they need fired.
That's right.
So it's going to take some really strong personalities. And I guess you, me.
All of us together.
Maybe we're the archetype for the person that needs to run against the status quo. But the status quo got us where we're at. So it's time to shake things up a little bit.
Time to take our power back.
Be an involved citizen.
Yes.
Challenge the power structure.
Yes.
It's not about winning the office. And that's something I want to put a fine point on that, Kim.
Wise words coming, everybody. Come on.
It's not about winning the office. It's about competing for the office and calling out the power brokers and the status quo for what they're doing. Because all of a sudden, people say, well, I ran for Congress and I didn't win, so I went home. Well, first of all, don't run for Congress. That's the most dysfunctional family on the planet. Okay?
There we go.
Keep it local.
Yes.
General Flynn is spot on.
Come on.
Local action with national impact.
Yes.
Run for that school board office. Because if the school board is permitting whatever Trevor's program or whatever that thing is that you talk about, replace the school board. Challenge the school board. Don't just show up at a meeting and go home and say, well, I did my thing and I made a difference. No, you didn't make a difference. Because they're going to make the claim that we're going to be here longer than you will be. Okay. You need to run against your school board people that are voting for crap like that.
Yes.
You need to run against city council people that insist on having a general plan that includes DEI crap. So for people to say, I'm not happy with government, all right, so what are you going to do about it? Just sit there and complain, or are you going to get off the couch?
That's right. That's right, Mark. I love it.
Be involved.
So we're not going to lose heart. Number one, God has given us authority over our children.
And we've got momentum.
Say that again.
We've got momentum.
We have momentum. We have momentum. Now, we've got to pray for strength. And we've got to get involved on that local level. And that's going to be really key. We're going to make our phone calls. We're going to call our legislators. And especially in California, where AB 495 and AB 727 are still in play, we're going to vote for leaders who honor God's design. And I say that we can do that if we unite together to really protect our children and win the fight. And if you think out there, all of our listeners, that who am I? Who am I? Listen. It starts with you. You're on this earth right now for this time. We've heard it said for such a time as this, but truly for such a time as this, you have your skills that you're going to bring into this fight that I don't have, that Mark doesn't have. We all need you so that we can work together. Mark, I just love you. You are a beacon of hope. I'm so grateful that you joined us today. And Mark, what can, if I were to give you one sentence or one scripture as that call to the action for the people, what would it be?
Support the Election Fairness Institute because we're on the front lines fighting for this stuff. Go EFI.org. Make a small contribution because many hands make for light work.
Yes, 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 yes. They can also go electionfairnessinstitute.org.
That's correct.
Okay, fantastic. Many hands makes light work. Mark Fincham, I just love you. Thank you so much for joining me today. It is always an honor to be in your presence. I have a feeling that we're going to be working behind the scenes together in taking California back. All right, guys, that is Mark Fincham, Senator, Arizona, and support him by going to electionfairnessinstitute.org. You can also go to mfincham@azleg.gov and his Substack at markfincham.substack.com. That's Mark Fincham with an em.substack.com. Well, my freedom-loving patriots, it has been an absolutely incredible day today. This has been truly electrifying with Representative Arizona Senator Mark Fincham on the Take Your Power Back show. And I got to say, we have declared in Jesus' name that government will not entangle themselves into a parental role any longer. Mark showed us how to fight our God-given sovereignty, fight for our God-given sovereignty, protect our children from laws like California's AB 495, AB 727, AB 665, and AB 223. And we get to stand firm against Satan's ploys to destroy God's design. So my freedom-loving patriots, here's your call to action. Contact your California senators today to stop AB 495 and AB 727. Get on the phone. Call. Get on the phone. Call. Go look it up. Who is my senator? Who can I call? Call them. And then I want you to join our freedom-loving patriot communities, like our Take Our Border Back and Take Our Election Back weekly Monday calls. And you can participate in that, and your voice will be heard. And you get to learn how other freedom-loving patriots just like you are standing in the gap. You can go to takeyourpowerbackshow.com. That's takeyourpowerbackshow.com. Hit subscribe. You'll go into an email list and you will be updated every step of the way. And guess what? Get ready, because here's what's coming next. We have next Thursday our Take Your Power Back California Governor Face-Off Round 4 on July 17th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's next Thursday. And we have with us gubernatorial candidates Ryan Tillman, Sharifa Hardy, we finally have a woman in there, and Kyle Langford right here on this platform that you're seeing this show on today. You can find us on all podcast platforms as well as Patriot TV, Rumble, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Discord, and all podcast platforms. If you go to takeyourpowerbackshow.com, you'll learn more about how you can donate, become one of our sponsors, and support the Take Your Power Back show and all of our freedom-loving sponsors. Last but not least, there's one more thing for you to add to that calendar, and it's a pretty big deal. It is our special event happening on November 8th, 2025 in Carlsbad, California. It is the California Take Your Power Back Governor Showdown. That's right. It's the Republican gubernatorial candidate governor showdown. You guys, it's going to be absolutely incredible. All these people that you have been seeing on our face-offs, they will be there. Now, you can find the information when you go to takeourcaliforniaback.com. That's takeourcaliforniaback.com. The tickets will be up very soon. So I'm going to give you guys a picture. Here's what's coming this Thursday. Take a look at these warriors. Ryan Tillman, Kyle Langford, and we got Sharifa Hardy. Do you know how hard it was to turn that picture into a beautiful woman? And she is a beautiful woman. So I had to make her look good. This was so fun in creating these So with that being said, guys, that is our Governor Face-Off on Thursday of next week. And here's what you have to look forward to on November 8th. Now, added to this list will be Ryan Tillman. We'll also have Sharifa Hardy. We'll also have Pastor Chien, who is about to say, I'm in full-fledged for candidate. So get ready. Go to takeourcaliforniaback.com. Well, my freedom-loving patriots, this is the end of today's Take Your Power Back show. And it has been an absolute joy being with you. And I send you blessings. I say, God bless you, my freedom-loving patriot. Thank you for supporting us at the Take Your Power Back show. Go in peace and take action today. Let's remember that God has given every single one of us a responsibility. Even if we are not a parent, we are a child of the King of Kings. He has given us the responsibility to protect God's children and to take our power back. May God bless you abundantly as you take your power back. I'll see you all on the other side. God bless and good day.
Thank you for joining us for the Take Your Power Back show. As Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach Kim Yater speaks to other freedom-loving Americans that are making a positive impact in the world by standing in truth amid adversity. Listen in weekly and learn how to take your power back in your freedom, in your personal and professional life, in technology and creativity, and in your faith. Be encouraged, be inspired, be transformed as you step into your power and take action in your leadership and allow your voice to be heard. Together, let's take your power back. To sponsor and support the Take Your Power Back show, go to takeyourpowerbackshow.com. That's takeyourpowerbackshow.com and take your power back.